Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari. Gopi Janavallabha Girivaradhari. Yashodanandana Bhajana Ranjana. Yashodanandana Vrajajana Ranjana. Yamuna Tira Vanachare. Yamuna Tira Vanachare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jaya Radha Madhav, Radha Madhav, Jaya Radha Madhav. Jaya Radha Govinda, Radhe. Hari Bol, Nitya Gaura, Hari Bol. Prabhupada. Jai Shri Shri Radha Madhav ki Jai, Shri Vrindavan Dham ki Jai, Grantara Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam ki Jai. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devīm Saraswatīm Vyasam Tato Jayamudhiraye. Om Ajnanatimirandhasya Jnananjanashalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamaiham Dadati Swapadantikam. Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. Vancha kalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhya eva cha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Mukham karoti vachalam pangum langayate girim yat kripatamaham vande Shri Gurun Dinataranam. So welcome to the first verse of this 15th chapter of the 10th canto of Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, which is entitled The Killing of Dhenuka, the Ass Demon. But as we said yesterday, we had a little introduction that the killing of Dhenuka is not going to happen immediately. There are many things that will happen before the killing of Dhenuka. And today we are going to see how the Kṛṣṇa, first of all, in order to kill Dhenuka, he has to go into the deep, dense forests. He has to go to Talvan. And for this, Kṛṣṇa will have to become a cowherd boy. So the beginning of the chapter, especially this verse, is about Kṛṣṇa becoming a cowherd boy. Previously, he had the status of Vatsapal, which is herding the small calves nearby the house and nearby the village. So there is a transformation which is taking place here. We are passing from one age of Kṛṣṇa to another age, from the age of Kaumara to the age of Pauganda. So this is described in the first verse here. Shri Shuka Uvacham Tathascha Paugandavaya Shrito Vraje Babhuvatustau Pashupala Sammatau Gascharayantau Sakhibhi Samampadair Vrindavanam Punyamativa Chakratu. So this is the beautiful verse. Yesterday we said that this chapter is very poetical and full of very beautiful verses, nicely composed. Sri Shukadev Goswami said, Tataha means then, Cha means and, Paugandavaya, the age of Pauganda, which here it says years 6 to 10. Shritau, attaining, Vraje, in Vrindavan, Babhuvatuhu, they, Ram and Kṛṣṇa, became, Tau means the two of them, Pashupal, cowherds, Sammatau, they were appointed, Ga means the cows, Charayanto means tending the cows. Sakibhi samam, along with their friends. Padaihi, with the marks of their feet. Vrindavanam, Sri Vrindavan. Punyam, auspicious. Ativa, extremely. And Chakratu, they made. Shukadev Goswami said, when Lord Ram and Lord Krishna attained the age of Pauganda, while living in Vrindavan, the cowherd men allowed them to take up the task of tending the cows. Engaging thus in the company of their friends, the two boys rendered the land of Vrindavan most auspicious by imprinting upon it the marks of their lotus feet. So, this is how the chapter begins with Tataha. Tataha means Tataha cha. It is connected, these words are connecting this chapter to the previous stories. And what had happened before? What happened before this pastime is there was quite a bit of excitement. First there was this lila of the boys entering Agasur's mouth. And it was very, very traumatic. It was very traumatic for everybody. The cowherd boys entering the mouth of Agasur, and Krishna seeing the disaster, and then Krishna entering, and it was very difficult for the cowherd boys how they entered, and they were actually devoured by the snake. And then the other thing that happened is they were stolen by Brahma. So they went to a lot of trauma. They were kept in a cave. They were stolen by Brahma for 1 year, actually. They were separated from their parents. They were separated from everything. And then finally they came back. So it's like there had been a lot of commotion. So it is explained that then it says that Krishna, knowing this, he decided to have some fun with the cowherd boys. And the fun would be that Krishna wanted to enter the forest of Vrindavan and begin a different set of his pastimes, which would be even more exciting. Going further into the deep forest and having more adventures. And he decided to take them to the Talvan forest. Some say this introduction to this verse also says that the pastimes were going, one after the next, one after the next, one after the next. So, and Krishna very quickly transited from the Kumara age to the age of Paganda. And there was no interruption whatsoever in the pastimes. They kept going, and then they entered the Paganda pastime, and the next day they were on the path of the Vrindavan forest. So this is introducing some new set of pastimes, and at the same time it's connecting us with what has happened previously. In the beginning of the purport, this is acknowledged. It says Krishna wanted to encourage his cowherd boyfriends who had been swallowed by Agasura and then stolen by Brahma. Therefore the Lord decided to bring them into the palm tree forest called Talvan, where there were many delicious ripe fruits. So what we see in this verse is, first of all, that there is a transformation. It says, Lord Krishna's spiritual body had apparently grown slightly in age and strength. And the senior men of Vrindavan, headed by Nanda Maharaj, decided to promote Krishna from the task of herding calves to the status of a regular cowherd boy. And from then on, he would take care of the fully grown cows. And it was not only cows, actually, because here it says, in one place it mentions ga charayanto, which means they would be herding the cows. But they became, it doesn't mention that he became Gopal, it says he became Pashupal. So the Pashu, it refers to not only the cows, but they would take in the forest. I mean, it is described in the Radha Krishna Garudesh Deepika that there were so many different types of divisions in the cowherds and different castes amongst them. And some would herd cows, and some would herd buffaloes. And there were even some who had goats. But mostly they were cow herds and they were buffalo herds. And when Krishna would go, and it looked like, it is said that the flow of all the animals, of all the pashus, it looked like Ganga Yamuna floating, because there was most of the cows, of course there were cows of many different colors, but they were rather light in color. They were white, they were brownish, they were beige, they were gray. So that formed like one river, which was just like the white Ganga. And then there were all the buffaloes, many buffaloes, and that was black. Mostly the buffaloes are black. So the black was like the river Yamuna. So there would be two rivers, and Krishna are described as two young elephants playing in the waters of the Ganga and the Yamuna, playing amongst the cows, playing amongst the buffaloes. So that is a Pashupala. He became the protector of the animals in general. Although in the family of Krishna, they were rather Gopal. They were protecting the cows. So Krishna is, we will see that the date came, it was getting closer and closer. Actually, Krishna had expressed the desire. Since long time, he had been, insisting more and more. I want to go and herd the cows. But initially, he was considered too small to actually be able to do that. And whether he was actually too small or it's his parents that saw him small, the parents have a tendency to see their children small. They always consider them younger than what they are, actually, because of the affection of Vatsalya. The parents are always very protective. And so, and then we will read some other things that actually Krishna's body grew much faster than the bodies of regular children. And this might have been the case for all his friends in Braj, because they were not ordinary children. They were most of the friends of Krishna had descended from the spiritual world to be with him. And particularly Kṛṣṇa and Balarāma, they grew faster. They grew very fast. So I will read some things about that. And that's why the parents were counting the years, but the body was bigger than the years. So there was a lot of reluctance. Krishna was asking again and again and again, I want to go into the forest, I want to herd the cows. But Nanda was not agreeable, what to speak of Yashoda. But on the day that we are speaking, they actually got the permission, Babhuvatuhu. Means that they were appointed, they were allowed they were finally considered qualified. But it took a lot of time. So Krishna's body, what made him qualified actually is that his transcendental body, it says, had grown. Yesterday we spoke of Narakriti, that Krishna plays the role of a human. And his body is going to transform like a human child from babyhood to early childhood, and then to adolescence kind of body. So here it says, in the Nectar of Devotion, we learn that the age up through 5 years is called Kaumara. And the age from the 6th through the 10th year, or the end of the 9th year, is called Pauganda. And then from there, from the age of 10 or 11 through 15, that is called Keshora. So these are the 3 ages of Krishna. This is described here. Kaumaram panchamapnantam Paugandam dashamavadi Keshoram a panchadashad Yauvanam tu tata param. Then there is, after 15, there is Yauvanam, which we know as Nava Yauvanam. From the age of 16, this is the eternal form of Krishna, which is manifesting in Golok Dham. But there are descriptions we hear in the Bhagavatam, in the 8th chapter of the 10th canto. Shukadev Goswami explains to King Parikshit this phenomenon that Krishna grew very fast. He says, "O King Parikshit, within a short time, Rama and Krishna began to walk very easily in Gokul on their legs, by their own strength, without the need to crawl." So it started from the time they were in Gokul. Very quickly they started walking. And sometimes we see that the son of a king, even while in his Poganda age of life, undergoes exceptional physical growth and exhibits activities appropriate to a Keshor. Then what to speak of Lord Krishna, whose exceptional growth is established in the Vaishnav Toshani, Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, Ananda Vrindavan Santu, and many other works. So the Acharyas have been writing about this, that Krishna's body was developed very, very fast. So there is a description here. The 3 years and 4 months that Lord Krishna stayed in Mahavan. So 3 years and 4 months, this is up to the time when there was this Yamalarjuna falling. And then it was considered that this was too much, too many demons. So they decided to move out of Mahavan. So it says here that 3 years and 4 months that Krishna spent in Mahavan were the equivalent of 5 years for an ordinary child. So when he was 3 months, 3 years, 4 months, Krishna looked how old? 5 years. And thus, in that period, when he stayed in Gokul, he completed his Kaumara age of childhood, the stage of childhood. And the period from then to the age of 6 years and 8 months, during which he lived in Vrindavan, constitutes his Pauganda age. So where was he living? Not far from here, you know? In Chattikara. Chattikara. Chattikara is a place where it is in the Vrindavan forest, when the cowherd boys, cowards, they crossed the Yamuna from Mahavan. They came to Vrindavan, which was reputed as a forest with wonderful grass and water and Govardhan Hill. There was so much, so they were hoping to resettle in Vrindavan. But because they were in a hurry, when they left, practically from morning to evening, they decided, and they were on the carts, they packed everything, they crossed the river Yamuna, and so, but they didn't know exactly where to head for. So they first halted in Chattikara, which basically means that they put all their carts in a circle, and they thus settled in a sort of a village there. And it says here, he stayed in this, it says, 1 year, it seems, 1 year and from the age of 6 and 8 months through his 10th year, from the age of 6 years and 8 months, he lived in Vrindavan. And then, after that, he shifted to Nandishwar, which is Nandagram. And it is said that originally the cowherds' ancestors, they came from Nandagaon. So they kind of went back to their ancestral lands there. And that was his Keshore age. So when he was in Nandagaon, he was actually Keshore. Then at the age of 10 years and 7 months, on the 11th lunar day of the dark fortnight of the month of Chaitra, he went to Mathura. Like that. Thus, he completed his Keshora period at the age of 10, and he eternally remains at that age. Then he becomes a Yovana, Nava Yovana. So, this is how Krishna, somehow, his body transformed. His body transformed, and therefore the cowherd boys observed, and they were forced to somehow acknowledge the difference here. We are going to hear here from the Nectar of Devotion. In the Nectar of Devotion, there is a description of these beautiful phases of the age of Poganda. And it says that this Poganda age can be further divided into 3 periods. There is the beginning, there is the middle, and there is the end of the age. So here is the description here. In the beginning of the Poganda age, it is said, there is a very nice reddish luster on the lips of Krishna. His abdomen is very thin, and on his neck are circles like that of a conch shells. Sometimes some outside visitors would come to Vrindavan, and upon seeing Krishna, they would say, "Oh, Krishna, your beauty is gradually increasing, just like the leaf on a banyan tree." You see, when the leaves are on the trees, the new leaves, every day you come and they change. They keep growing and growing and growing. So it seemed like this. My dear lotus-eyed one, your neck is gradually manifesting circles like those of the conch shell. And in the shining moonlight, your teeth and cheeks are competing with the Padma Raja jewels in their beautiful arrangement. I am sure that your beautiful bodily development is now giving much pleasure to your friends. So it is said that in this age, Krishna was garlanded with various kinds of flowers. And he used to put on a silk dress colored with various kinds of dye. So the idea is that when Krishna was in Kumara age, he didn't care about his dress. And he was dressed by his mother, and he didn't really care about his dress. Whatever she put on, it's okay. But when he turned Poganda age, then he wanted this dress, not that dress, and he chose the colors, and he chose the ornaments, and he became a little particular. It said he became self-conscious, like children become self-conscious. And and we can see here, reddish luster on his lips, abdomen is very thin. So in the Kumara age, usually the form is that there is little roundish belly. When the children are small, the belly is little round. And the cheeks are round. Many things are round. The little feet are roundish. The little hands are roundish. It's little puffy on top of the hands. So when Krishna grew to the age of Pauganda, all this disappeared. All these roundish, the cheeks became little high, the belly became thin. Then you started seeing a waist. Otherwise, in the small children, it's all straight. And then his feet, we will hear about this, how he made the forest of Vrindavan very beautiful, because his feet made beautiful marks on the earth. And the idea is that when the feet are small, Krishna's feet are small, they are very small, and the toes are like going towards the inside. And the marks, which we know, these beautiful 24 uncommon marks which are there on the feet of Krishna, they were not visible when he was small. Basically, you just see the line. On Krishna's foot there is one line, which says this line is a line that is coming from the spiritual world. We should catch it. We should meditate on the line on the foot of Lord Krishna, and we should meditate on catching that line, and so that Krishna can pull us up. That's the meditation on the line. That was about the only thing visible when Krishna's feet were small. But at the age of Pauganda, the feet are becoming elongated. And then all the different marks, they become visible. So these are some of the transformation here. And then Krishna started wearing garlands. And such beautiful decorations are considered cosmetics for Krishna. So something very natural, made from flowers, from natural powders. Krishna would wear this dress when he used to go into the forest to tend the cows. Okay, then we go to the middle. So this is when he was just in the beginning of Pauganda. When he was in the beginning of Pauganda, these were the symptoms of his body. And then when Krishna grew up more in the middle of Pauganda, his nails became finally sharp. And his chubby cheeks became lustrous and round at the top here. On the two sides of his waist, above his belt, there are three distinct lines of folded skin called trivali. So above his belt, he's wearing a belt, and there are three lines in his belly. So the cowherd boyfriend, looking at Krishna's beauty, felt very proud of their association with him. At that time, it says, the tip of his nose defeated the beauty of, anybody else? Sesame flowers. Now you have to find a sesame flower. It has a certain shape which doesn't really remind of a nose, but it is compared to the beauty of a sesame flower. The luster of his cheeks defeated the glow of pearls, and the two sides of his body were exquisitely beautiful. In this age, Krishna wore a silk dress that glittered like lightning. His head was decorated with a silk turban covered with gold lace. And in his hand, he carried a stick about 56 inches long. So this is the middle of the Pauganda age here. And then there is a description of the end. At the end of Krishna's Pauganda age, Krishna's hair sometimes hangs down to his hips. Long hair. And sometimes it becomes scattered, because he's so restless, always running, climbing, jumping. In this age, his two shoulders become higher and broader, and his face is always decorated with marks of tilak. When his beautiful hair scatters over his shoulders, it appears to be a goddess of fortune embracing him. At this age, Krishna took pleasure in whispering into the ears of his friends, and the subject of his talks was the beauty of the gopis. So we hear here that actually the Madhurya Rasa begins in Pauganda. But little. It is manifest in Keshora, but it begins in Pauganda. So this is the description here, and there is some more description. It also says that this transformation from Kaumara to Pauganda, it took place very suddenly. There was a gradual transformation, but then suddenly he started looking different. And it is at this time here where for 1 year, the cowherd boys were stolen and Krishna had expanded. So he still looked small when he expanded. And then when the year was over and the real cowherd boys came back, then suddenly there was a transformation in his body. So the cheeks became raised. His waist became slender. His chest broadened and his shoulder widened. And all his limbs became longer. His arms became longer. His feet became longer. Including, it says, here we saw his hair become longer. And it says his eyes became longer. He started having the lotus eyes. His hair and clothing became more elaborate. These are like visible changes, but also he turned more thoughtful. He became very thoughtful. Before he was very childish in his psychology, but he turned more thoughtful and grave in his movements. So in the age of Kaumara, you know how the children, they trample, they fall, the way they walk is very endearing to the parents. They make these little steps that are a bit unsure. It always looks like they're gonna fall. But when this transformation take place, then Krishna became very sober and he began to walk in a very decisive way, very sure of himself, very grave in his movements. And he abandoned the naughtiness of the Kaumara age. More naughtiness in the sense here, that kind of baby childhood, crying for nothing and always wanting something. He abandoned this, he became more grave. His eyes shone with glimmer of excitement. He cast glances in all directions. So when the children are small, usually they are not so much bothered with like long distance. They just look at what's around them, the surroundings. But now Krishna became interested, started raising his head and looking in the distance and noticing things that he didn't notice before. So there is an awakening. And then his desire to enjoy also grew. And it is said that the Pauganda, when it says here, Pauganda vaya Shritao, Pauganda vaya Shrito, means attaining the age of Pauganda, but it also signifies that time serves Krishna always. And so this age of Pauganda appeared to serve Krishna. And in what way? In the way that it will manifest more rasa. In the age of Kaumara, the rasa which is possible with Krishna is mostly Vatsalya. And he behaves in such a way that people feel like protecting him. And he relates mostly with his parents, with the elders. He always takes shelter of the elders, shelter of his parents. And the other rasas are not so much manifested. But the age of Pauganda means now, especially the door will open for Sakyaras. Krishna is now going to give more importance to playing with his friends than playing with Yashoda and playing with Nanda. He will no longer stay all the time close to the lap of Yashoda or coming back all the time to his parents. Now he will find interest in exploring the Sakyaras. Very, very different. So much adventure, much more adventure. So his playful desire to enjoy grew in different ways. Now he wants to do more things. He became skillful in learning new types of play. So it is at this age that the boys become very playful, and they invent so many games. He had beauty, softness, fragrance, and sweetness. His intelligence increased and became deeper. So this kind of form, as we said, became the impetus for Sakya. In the Nectar of Devotion, it says, sometimes the different names, forms, paraphernalia, and transcendental qualities provoke fraternal love. They became an impetus for fraternal love, or Sakya Bhav. For instance, Krishna's nice dress, his strongly built body, the all auspicious symptoms on his body, like the lines on his neck, the lines on his belly, his knowledge of different languages, his learned teachings, his uncommon genius, like that. So these make the people, the other boys, actually appreciate him. They appreciate him, and they want to be his friend. They want to have a relationship with him. The impetus to fraternal love, upon seeing the associates of Krishna in Vrindavan, is also very natural. For their personal bodily features, their qualities and their dress are all equal to Krishna's. So here it is described that this is for the devotees. We said yesterday, reading the 10th canto is not about learning philosophy. It's about getting attracted to Krishna. Getting attracted to Krishna and getting a sense of what is our own eternal relationship with Krishna. So by seeing the descriptions of Krishna in this Poganda age, those who are in Sakyaras eternally, they feel very excited. They really like it. They feel very, very attracted. And they feel like related with Krishna in that way. And not only while seeing Krishna, but also while seeing Krishna's friends. When we hear the descriptions of Subal and Stoka Krishna and Sridham, and how they are dressed and how they play and how they act, then this also makes the devotee feel that, yeah, I want to be like this. I want to dress like this. I want to be like this. I want to serve Krishna like this. Yeah, I want to do this for Krishna. I want to be with him. So this is the idea here. Krishna's age, his beauty, his bugle, his flute, his conch shell. So these are now things that he is going to, these are paraphernalias which were not there when he was so small. Now he will get different types of additional paraphernalia. His pleasing attitude all provoke love and friendship for him. His exceptional joking abilities, exhibited sometimes by his pretending to be a royal prince, or even the Supreme Personality of Godhead, also give impetus to devotees developing love for Krishna in friendship. So we can see here the transformations. Now he makes joke. He pretends to be somebody he's not. And this is very exciting for his friends. They all want to be close to him. So this is the transformation of the age here. And where did this all happen? In the verse it says, Vraje, in the land of Braj, which actually is also understood to mean in the cowherd village. In the cowherd village in Vrindavan. So we will see many times several times in the chapter it will say that it will talk about Braj in the sense of Brajamandala also, but also specifically Braj here is the village of the cowherd boys. So, and this is significant because these pastimes of Krishna, this is the particularity of Braj, that Krishna displays these childhood pastimes in Braj, which are most sweet, and they are not found anywhere else. Once Krishna comes out of Braj, and as we know, he expands in order to come out of Braj. Krishna never leaves Braj. But the element of Aishwarya is going to be mixed with the sweetness. As soon as he goes to Mathura, he belongs to a Kshatriya family, and then there is people respect him, show him respect. What to speak of in Dwarka. And so this is the place here in Vrindavan. It's only in Vrindavan that the sweetness, 100% sweetness of Krishna is displayed. So this is added to this verse here, that this is happening in Vrindavan. It's happening only in Vrindavan. This is the most fortunate place, the most fortunate land. And the people who happen to take birth in Vrindavan at the time of Krishna's appearance, they are the most fortunate people in the entire material world, in the entire universe. And Prabhupada explains that when a devotee becomes mature enough to give up material life, to actually end the cycle of birth and death. So the first place where he goes usually is that he takes one more birth in one of the universes where Krishna's pastimes are being manifest. So the people around Krishna are both the most fortunate associates, eternal associates who come with him from the spiritual world, and then the most fortunate devotees who have attained bhava bhakti and who can enter the pastimes, and they get trained up in the association of the eternal associates. So, and of course, it is also said that some of the associates of Krishna, they are also demigods. The demigods who have descended to help Krishna in his tasks. But mostly they are eternal associates, especially the close associates of Krishna. They are eternally with him, they descend with him. Or they have qualified themselves, they are jivas who have qualified themselves to enter in the association of Krishna. And this particular pastimes, this is the function of the land of Vrindavan, to host these pastimes of Krishna, full of sweetness, and this sweetness allows this intimate relationship with Krishna, which are not going to be possible in Dwarka, in other places, because of the air. Krishna has become a prince, he has become some important person. So getting close to him is more difficult. But in Braj, everyone is extremely close to Krishna. The relationships are very, very intimate. And that's what makes Braj and Vrindavan, Goloka, and Gokul in this earth, makes it the topmost realm, higher than all the realms of Vaikuntha, because of the closeness which can be obtained, closeness to Krishna. So we heard that Krishna, he became Pashupal, and we heard that he very much wanted it. Pashupal Sammatao. It indicates that he became authorized. He couldn't do it on his own. He couldn't just take the cows and go. There's a strict discipline. And in the cowherd village, there are people who are appointed to different services. So those who are appointed to actually herd the cows, it is serious business, because the cows, they are the means of livelihood of the cow herds. And so you can't mess with that. You can't lose the cows. You can't get the cows harmed. And when the cows are taken to pastures in the forest, there are many dangers. They can fall into some ditches. They can fall into a river. There may be some landslides in the big mountains, because today when we go to see Govardhan, it looks like a small mountain, but it is described when Krishna actually was in Vrindavan. Vrindavan manifested, and Govardhan manifested with very high peaks. And so the cows can fall, the cows can be burnt in the fire. So many times we read in the Bhagavatam that there was a forest fire, especially in the summer. There were wild animals also. So it's a responsible job to actually herd the cows. And what to speak of controlling them when there are many, many, many of them. Be able to, going is easy because they all run, but bringing them back, you have to gather all of them, you have to bring them back. Some want to come back, some don't want to come back. So it's quite something. So Krishna began to desire, when he was still in this Balya Rupa, when he was still childish in his appearance, he decided to, he started to desire to go out to herd the cows. So one thing is that Krishna wanted to go. Kṛṣṇa and Balarāma, they wanted to go. One of the ideas why they wanted to go is they wanted to enjoy more. And the way to enjoy is to be free from supervision. Naturally. And when they were small, they stayed. So as soon as something happens, Yashoda comes out, Nanda arrives, and they stop the games. They stop the games. Too dangerous. Don't climb on the tree. Every time Krishna tries to climb on the tree, Yashoda is like, no, you don't climb on the tree. You don't jump in the water. You don't do this, you don't do that. So naturally the enjoyment is there because they also enjoy the chastisement of the mother and all that. But at the same time, now Krishna wants to enjoy free from all these limitations. And one way to do this is that you have to go away from the village. You have to go away from the supervision of the parents. So when they will be alone in the forest, Krishna has many plans, what they are going to do. So that was the idea. They wanted to go because they wanted to enjoy. And the boys also wanted to go, all of them. They were like in a, what you call it, workers' union, They all agreed, all the boys together agreed that they all wanted to go. It is also mentioned that even the cows wanted Krishna to go. There had been some transformation in the cows. The cow herds were experiencing some difficulty in taking the cows to the pastures. The cows didn't want to go. They would surround Krishna and they would just be attracted to Krishna. And in the morning, when it was time to leave for the pastures, they didn't want to go. So all these things were happening. The children wanted to go, Krishna wanted to go, the cows didn't want to go. And why they didn't want to go? They couldn't bear being separated from Krishna. As Krishna grew, he grew more and more and more and more attractive. He said the cows, the bulls, and even amongst the calves, there were different kinds of calves. There were the calves who were small, and there were the calves who had already grown and who were not drinking the milk of their parents, of their mother anymore. So as soon as the calves stopped drinking the milk of the mother, they joined the cows and the bulls for pasturing. So these three categories of cows, like the cow, mother's cow, and then the bulls, and then the elderly calves, all these three categories, they were like not agreeing to go out in the morning when the cowherds would just, encourage them to leave. They were reluctant. So this was happening. It is also described that the forest animals had heard. They were aware that Kṛṣṇa is in the village of Braja. And they also developed a longing to see Kṛṣṇa. But it is described that the forest animals, by their nature, they don't come into the villages. They are fearful. They are shy. They are shy, fearful. They don't come. So they used to come at the edge of the forest. And they used to look in the distance. Every day, more and more animals were coming at the edge of the forest. And they would try to see whether, they would actually try to catch a glimpse of Kṛṣṇa. It is said that sometime it had become such that some wild animals would actually come close to the village. They would wander close to the village, trying to see Kṛṣṇa. So this was one more party that was very eager for Kṛṣṇa to come into the forest. And also the trees, the creepers of the forest, they also were longing. They were longing. They are in Shantaras. And they were longing. We are growing all these flowers. They were blooming, and the forest of Vrindavan was so beautiful. The creepers were climbing up, and they were shedding flowers like anything. The trees were blooming, and the plants, all the grass and the plants, and they were all, because their life, they are all devotees. I understand that all those who take birth in the land of Vrindavan, and like this, particularly at the time of Kṛṣṇa's appearance, they are all devotees. Usually it is understood the trees and the grass, the creepers, they are sages. They are sages who have attained this body in Vrindavan. And because they are maybe that kind of sages who are a little impersonal in nature. So they are in Shantaras. But they have become devotees, they have become residents of Braj. So all the trees were very, very eager, and they were waiting and waiting for the day that they can serve Kṛṣṇa. And, they are more limited than the animals. At least the animals, they would sneak into the village surroundings, but the trees, they cannot move. Their only hope is that Kṛṣṇa will come out of the village and he will come to see them. So all these different people, devotees, they all their desire combined together to create this atmosphere that now is the time, now is the time, now is the time that Kṛṣṇa will leave the forest, and he will go into the he will leave the village and he will go into the forest. So, but Kṛṣṇa and Balarāma had been asking Nanda Baba, look. They were showing their body. They said, look, we are ready. We can go. You rest. We are ready. We can go. We want to go. But initially, Nanda, and he said, no. You are still small. You cannot go. It's very dangerous. And after Kṛṣṇa actually requested many times Nanda Baba, then finally Nanda told the Yashoda that, something is happening. Our son is growing. And now he wants to be promoted to being a cowherd. Because in the cowherd community, this is like the boy has become like mature. And now he can go into the forest. So he conveyed that to Yashoda Mai. But she didn't welcome that too much. So, and Yashoda Mai, she also had seen the changes in her son's body, but she was trying to delay the day that Krishna would actually leave her and go into the forest. So, in the Gopal Champu, it is related that Yashoda was meeting with her gopi friends, and she said, Krishna is growing up. I am very happy. But at the same time, I am pained. She had observed many changes in Krishna. He became more independent. Before he was always ma, ma, ai. He was calling all the time, every time he wanted something. I'm thirsty, but now he doesn't say I'm thirsty. He goes and drinks water. So he has become more independent. And he spent more time with his friends. And he no longer listens to all her recommendations. You do this, do that, don't do this, don't do that. He goes like, and it just goes away. All that had developed, especially since the killing of Aghasura. As feeling of separation was growing within her heart. So he had not yet gone to the forest, but she was already in separation. Her mind was already projecting, Krishna is leaving, Krishna is not with me. She was already in separation. While previously she used to bathe him every morning, she would bring him, she would undress him, put him in the tub and bathe him. Now Krishna felt shy to stand naked in front of her. He didn't want his mother to bathe him anymore. Upon waking up, he ran to the servants, Patraka and all. They were boy servants. So he ran to the servants, who then bathed him. So that was a big change. Because bathing the child, mother likes to do that very much. And now he didn't want that anymore. He was bathed by the servants. Properly attired, he would then come before Nanda and Yashoda and offer his respects. So this is a sign of how he has grown in his psychology. Yashoda revealed her anxiety to her gopi friends. Krishna wants to begin herding cows, an activity which will take him far away, deep into the forest, for many hours every day. The gopis tried to pacify her, saying, this is the nature of children born of cowherds. They all herd cows. It cannot be stopped. And it is all auspicious. Do not be worried. So this was going on in the ladies' quarters. They were talking. And then in the men's quarters, we will hear that tomorrow, I think, because the time is up. In the men's quarters, after a lot of reluctance, finally, Upananda decided. Upananda was the big brother, the head of the cowherds, and he decided to hold a meeting. And they had a big meeting, an Ishtagosti, of all the cowards, just to discuss this. Which boys have now become ready to take up the duty of herding the cows. So we'll hear that tomorrow. There will be many arguments, pros and cons, but in the end, Kṛṣṇa and Balarāma will be appointed. Hari Hari. Jai. Srila Prabhupada ki Jai.